Hey, Katie Johnson. Thank you for joining me today. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Stoughton, Wisconsin. And if you look up Stoughton, Wisconsin on Google, you'll find that we pride ourselves in having a really strong Norwegian heritage. So when these cute little gnome stamp sets started coming out in the catalog, well, I just had to have them, of course. This is the third gnome product that Stampin' Up! Has come out with in recent history. This one actually has a coordinating set of dies that that are available as a separate purchase. So look at the price on that stamp set, 24 bucks for that cute little thing. If you love to color, if you like gnomes, if you have a Norwegian heritage, you got to have that set. So I'm going to show you how to make this card right here. And we're going to flip the camera down, talk layout, talk a little bit of tips for making it, and you can watch it come together. Okay, this is the stamp set. So you can see that it's got three little gnomes. It's got this darling little toadstool. It's got a balloon. It's got a little bird. It's got the squirrel there, some flowers. So lots of different imagery that you can put together to make different things. I love the fact that these two are kind of facing away from each other, but kind of looking at each other. So that makes for some darling little layouts, including what I'm going to do today. And then this little guy is holding a Valentine. And of course, these two are facing each other as well. So we're gonna make this card in just a moment. The sentiments that are in this one, there's no one better than you. Awesome for Valentine's Day, and I love yous. And then we have the I love you. Gnome, sweet gnome. Every spring is everywhere, and wishing you the most magical of birthdays. So this is the one that is currently available. You want to see the one that you missed, or maybe you have this one already. This one, same, look at that, same um, basic outline shape. He is holding a heart. This guy's holding a lantern, but it's the same basic outline shape. These guys came with dies. The dies are still available. So while you can't get this stamp set anymore, you can get the dies that go with this one. So that's an awesome plus. This one has a big toadstool. If you happen to get the dies, you would have the toadstool die. Doesn't have to go with that stamp set. So even though this stamp set is no longer available, this die is just going to cut a great big awesome toadstool that you can use on a card. So the dies are available, totally not necessary. Of course, I'd love you to buy them, but they're totally not necessary because if you look at the lines on this thing, this is pretty easy to cut out with a scissors as well. All right, so let's take a look at what I'm going to use for today's project. I'm going to start with the sentiment. This is going to be a Valentine. No one knows me better than you. And inside it's going to say, I love you. I cut out a shape that I'm going to stamp my sentiment on and then a layering shape. And if you're wondering where those came from, there's another new product in the catalog called Something Fancy. It's just a whole bunch of different sentiments. And then it does have a set of, oh my gosh, even if you didn't buy this, look at how useful this is with layering dies that would let you nest tags as well as sentiments on a project. So anyway, I use these for this project. So there are my two. Let's get the sentiment created and then we will move on from there. Decided to add a little bit of foliage in the bottom here, just because I think sometimes it looks more natural if your images are like grounded in some way. So just adding a little bit, that makes it a little bit more clear that they're standing on the ground. So my plan is to have the sentiment up here, and this is going to be on my card front. Now comes the fun part, which is the coloring. My perception of Norwegian-y kind of images is bright blues and bright reds and bright yellows. So I pulled out a lot of those to kind of fill in, and we're just going to go to town here. So if you're unfamiliar with Stampin' Up! Markers, there's two ends to every marker. The one with the wide band is a brush tip, and the one with the narrow band is going to be a pointy tip. So you've got that pointy tip and you've got the brush tip for doing your coloring. And then it's a matter of the image itself and how you like to color. Okay, okay, that was a really fast, quick coloring job. I hope that you are looking at that and already thinking about how darling these little gnomes are and what colors you would use to finish off the project. Okay, let's see the rest of this card. This is going to be on a white base, and actually I have a couple more stamps I'm going to use on the inside just because there's so many cute little things. There's so many little stamps in this set. All right, on the inside, this squirrel was adorable. So we're going to add the squirrel. We're going to give him, let's see, we're going to start with a sentiment on the inside. So the outside says, there's no one better than you. And on the inside, it's going to say, love you. That is part of the set. And then we're going to add a little bit of grass just to ground my squirrel. Completely changed up my plan because I got ink on my fingers and smudged the top of my card, and I have a plan for making that better. This was not how I planned to do this when I started this project, so let's add my little squirrel, which is more of this black messy ink. I'm going to set him right over here next to the grass. And because I have it, here we go. There's a balloon in this stamp set. Perfect for covering up my ink smudge, right? So we're just going to let him hold a balloon that's going to cover right up over where the ink smudge is. And then we'll color the balloon and people won't know that ink smudge is there. My balloon handle isn't quite connected to his paw. Not a problem on there. Remember, there's two tips to every marker, so we're just going to add a little bow to the end of this and make sure that that's connected to his hand. All right, so there's the inside of my card. Now let's take a look at the outside. This bright blue is a very Norwegian color, and this is going to be my main background piece. My trolls are going to be off on this side, and then are my gnomes, trolls. And then I'm going to hang this off over on the other side. Once I laid it out like that, I realized that the framing piece for the sentiment was kind of getting lost in the background of the blue. So we have another punch that just punches out these things. Punches are so quick and easy, right? So I've got all these punched little leaf shapes, and I'm going to use those to help to distinguish the sentiment layer from the background layer. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to put a couple of dimensionals right in the middle of the sentiment, because that will allow me to place and visualize where these leaves are going to go slipped in underneath. And I can use my scissors and I can trim these up as needed. So again, I have blue on blue, but I want it to be distinguished. So we're just going to kind of let that go there. And we'll let this one come in from the top, maybe even covering. Nope, we'll go it underneath. So there we go. And then we'll put another one off over in this direction. Now, I'm going to start by putting my sentiment on. Making sure that his hat is showing. And then to put these guys on, I'm going to put some adhesive on the leaf itself and then stick it underneath. You see how I left myself room with where I placed those dimensionals, and now it's kind of stuck down. Then if I want to come back with either a glue dot or some more of my tape, I'll show you how I would do that. So I would take a glue dot right here. And one thing I could do is just to put it underneath the leaf. Glue dots are wonderful because they're like silly putty or clay. I mean, you can roll them. They're very thin. So I could put it right underneath that leaf. Okay, and now that punched out leaf is not going anyplace. That is securely held to the card. So that's one way to do it. The easiest way. You can also come in, and I'll show you with the second one. how I would do it if I didn't have glue dots. So the other option, get this guy kind of stuck underneath, and the glue that's currently on there is enough to kind of hold it in position. Push down, and now it's attached to the surface of the sentiment. The other thing I can do is I can come in and just kind of try and roll some of my tape on the back of the leaf to hold that down. So two different ways to do that. So got just a little bit of adhesive on the stem end of this, lets me slip it underneath and get it positioned where I want it to be. And I like the glue dots. You know, I figure there's some things that are just staples. You got to have them in your stamping room. One of them is the take your pick tool. One of them is a really good pair of um, paper snips, a bone folder, the trimmer, you know, all those basics. And if, as far as basic adhesives, I consider the dimensionals and the glue dots to be absolute staples that everybody needs, as well as some liquid glue. There's a lot of times when you really need that, but I consider those to be just, you know, everybody should have those in their stamping space. Okay, what do you think? Finished? Yeah, you know me. I'm going to add rhinestones just because I think everything needs them. Plus, for sure, we need one on her hat, right? Right here in the middle of that little flower. Oh my goodness. Even if I only added one rhinestone, that just had to be there. Look at how cute that is. Okay, so where else can I add rhinestones on here? This one, I've got this lovely space down here. What if I just added like a little trio down in the corner there? Just like a little 1, 2, 3. Almost like a little sparkly period at the end of a sentence. There, that completes that corner, don't you think? Okay, now I'm happy with that. We've got a good card. So let me know in the comments what you thought about the project. If you like to color, this is a really fun one for coloring. So if you are interested in any of the gnome product that's currently available, that stamp set is available in the mini catalog. It's $24. And if you'd like to have the coordinating dies that cut out 3 um, of the gnomes that are in there, and I neglected to mention, if you look at the shapes and the dies down there, you can see that it does a mushroom shape also. And those mushroom pieces, the caps, I've actually used them for extra hands on a project. It cuts out some grass, so you can actually make some other fun scene stuff with the things that are in the dies. Wait. Oh, I have to show you this. Okay, here, I brought in one more thing to show you. So this is the die set, and you can see there's some framelits in here that cut out the punched images. There's other things in the die set, though, also. So there are bigger pieces that just cut out gnome parts that aren't stamped images. So that's a reason to get those dies alone. These are the punch or the die cut images, and you can see that this gnome that you're going to die cut is bigger than the stamped ones. So these are just parts that come with a set of dies. And then here's the things that make cute mushrooms, and you can put them together and make a thing. There's nothing really for hands, but you could take those mushroom pieces and turn them into hands, which I did do on this little guy. So those are mushroom caps, but I turned them into hands. The other thing is, notice that on this die right here, that it embosses lines like for his beard. So what I did on this was I actually took my marker to the die, not an ink pad because it would have just colored the whole thing, but I took my marker and I carefully went over all these lines on the die. So now they had ink on them, and then I ran it through the machine. So now when my die cut machine, when it impressed the lines, it also impressed the ink into those lines, which was very cool. You want to see the coolest part? Watch his legs. Oh, little dancing gnome. So cute. So if you want to make a dancing gnome, I can come back and show you how to do that. It's actually super, super easy. I just cut the shape for his legs. I have to draw this out. I messed up this piece of paper anyway. So this was way longer than I planned, but you're getting a little bonus by watching this. So here is the piece that cuts out his legs. Okay, and then I glued behind it another piece. So now this red piece is attached to the legs. Put a circle in it. And guess what goes in the circle? A little glue dot or a dimensional. So now he's raised up. Can you see in there? There's just one little dimensional in there in the hole, but the hole is bigger than the dimensional. So then his legs just swing. Super, super cute, super, super easy. And that alone is a reason just to go ahead and get the die set. And then, of course, the fact that the die set has framelits that go with the images that are in the uh, the stamp set. And yeah, if you're into gnomes, this like you got to have all this stuff. So there is the information. I will also drop it in the description for you so you don't have to watch this whole thing to come up with it. And thank you for watching me today. If you are watching on Facebook, make sure you subscribe or follow my Facebook page, follow my Facebook page, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you will get a notification the next time I post one of these things. Hey, have an incredible day, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.